So a few months ago, I did a run of Stardew where I made every poor decision possible. From choosing all of the worst dialogue options to dating everyone in town at the same time, and yes, even picking the Joja route. At the end of it all, I was left with half of Pelican Town giving me the cold shoulder and Morris being my only true friend. And to be honest, I wasn't satisfied with that ending. Sure, my girlfriends and boyfriends were all giving me the cold shoulder now, but I knew they would come back around eventually. And the thought of having all their portraits lined up on my wall was very intriguing. So I revisited the farm, deciding that it was only right for me to see this challenge through to the very end, and set off on a quest to marry and divorce everyone in Stardew Valley. And boy, did things go poorly. Safe to say a lot of people were displeased, shocked, even a tad offended with how things went with the bachelors and bachelorettes. But hey, that's showbiz, baby. The first thing I had to do was, unfortunately, wait out the cold shoulder period. I spent this time expanding my house and decorating it in beautiful Joja decor. And after about a week, I set off into town to see if my partners had gotten over the whole cheating thing. Surprisingly, Penny was the first to take me back. And after a day of awkward conversation with the rest of my partners, we were back in business. It was around this time I received the rusty key from Gunther, and could finally go into the sewers to see Krobus. But we'll get back to him later. With the first rainfall came my first marriage proposal. I decided that the easiest way to keep track of who I was marrying was to go in alphabetical order. So we started with Abigail. Abigail, you're the one that I really want. Forever. You and me. Just us. Together forever. Will you marry me, Abigail? I accept! Oh. Me? Married? I never thought this would happen. Me neither, Abigail. We're gonna have a lot of fun together. A couple days later, we had the ceremony, and we began the journey to 14 Hearts. I noticed that after getting married, the other romanceables went back to being single, but it still showed the bouquet, so I assumed it was just a sort of formality. After the wedding, I headed out to town to see what the people thought of my new spouse. Sam and Louis had some kind words. Caroline welcomed me into the family, and Pierre was his usual criminal self. I was surprised when Sebastian had nothing to say on the matter, and pleasantly surprised when Linus did. Right after our wedding day was the flower dance, which Abigail almost gave me a heart attack at, but in the end, it was fine, and we had a lovely time. Yes, dear? But I wanted to dance with... What? Whoa, hold on. Wait a minute. What? Just kidding. Of course I'm dancing with you. I love you. Okay. You got me there, Abigail. You got me there. Now, for each new spouse, I had to assess their room and outside area. I figured that at some point I would rank all of them, and these spaces would have an effect on the ranking. Abigail's room was fine, but she got extra points for bringing a guinea pig with her. Her playing flute in the yard was adorable, though. I also took into account the gifts that each spouse would occasionally give me. Abigail was a bit eccentric in the gifts she gave, opting for bombs and fire quartz. But honestly, the bombs are super useful, and I appreciated them a lot more than some of the other gifts. Speaking of gifts, I really wanted to hit 14 hearts as quickly as possible, since I had 11 other people to marry. So I made sure to give Abigail amethyst every day to get our friendship points up. Sometimes, your spouse will head out into town, and I always liked following them and seeing what they were up to, and what they had to say about me finding them in town. Abigail usually went to check up on her parents, and although Pierre literally could not care less, I thought the sentiment was sweet. Now, don't think that just because I'm a married woman now that I forgot about my other responsibilities. Anytime we received a new cutscene, I still made sure to pick the worst dialogue options, including telling Louis and Marnie that I was going to tell the whole town about their little secret. And unfortunately, that also meant that I had to tell Alex to get over the death of his mother already. I mean, come on, it's been years, Alex. Enough with the sob story. Dude, your mom died like so long ago. Get over it, man. That doesn't make me feel any better, jerk. Back to Abigail. I noticed that every once in a while she would say some wild things. All of the bachelors and bachelorettes actually have their own little quirks. I'll be sure to let you guys in on them. And yes, it will affect my rankings. Eventually, Abigail gave me a star drop, which will happen once you reach 12 hearts with your spouse. And soon after that, we hit 14 hearts. This meant two things. One, I could now buy Abigail's portrait from the traveling merchant. And two, we could now see Abigail's 14 heart event. After being attacked by a monster in the area behind the farm, Abigail came to my rescue and killed the monster for me. She was a bit torn up about having to take another being's life, but I reassured her that monsters don't deserve our sympathy. Which she didn't take very well, and we ended up creating a little grave for the fallen monster. What is this? Abigail took a life to save mine. I'll never forget that. Oh my god. Oh my god. You get a whole gravestone? With Abigail's portrait and 14 heart event under my belt, it was finally time to be rid of her. I headed into Mayor Lewis's home and went to file for divorce when I realized I had made a huge mistake. See, I had assumed that a divorce would only cost me 5,000 gold, but to my surprise, it's actually 50,000. Add in the price of mermaid pendants and the portraits, and I would have to spend a minimum of 85,000 gold on each spouse. Clearly, I was gonna need a lot more money. But there was no point in delaying the inevitable, so I ripped the band-aid off and divorced Abigail. And boy was she not happy about that. But I don't know what I was expecting. Now, since I was made aware that I would need way more money than I originally thought, I ended up making an executive decision. This run was never about actually farming and taking care of the land that Grandpa gave me. No. I just wanted to interact with the villagers and forget about all of my other responsibilities. And so, I did the one thing that no one should be surprised about. I cheated. I bought a chicken from Marnie and named it the code for 999 legends and sold them all. And just like that, I had a solid 14 million gold. Definitely more than I actually needed, but now money wouldn't be a problem, and I could get right down to the meat and potatoes. With my pockets stuffed, I headed into town with a new mermaid pendant and proposed to Alex. I know I've said some things to you, and I haven't really been the nicest, the kindest, the most caring person towards you. But deep down, I love you, Alex. And I want to spend the rest of my life with you, Alex. Just us, forever. Will you marry me? I accept! I'll set everything up. We'll have the ceremony in 3 days, okay? Noodly, this is the greatest thing that could have happened. Ah, it's cute, it's cute, it's cute. Here's a little fun fact for you all. Did you know that if you're engaged, not dating and not married, but engaged, you can go back to the beach and buy another mermaid pendant off the mariner, allowing you to walk around with a mermaid pendant despite already having given it to someone? This led me to some questions, which I actually was able to quickly find the answers to. I have 3 questions. What happens when you present a mermaid's pendant to your fiance and they're already your fiance? What happens when you present a mermaid's pendant while you're engaged to someone that's not your fiance? And then what happens when you present a mermaid's pendant to someone that's not your spouse when you're already married? So... Oh. Wait, I can't... Oh. Oh. You just got engaged. What are you thinking? Oh. Hey, so I'm not engaged anymore. I'm married. So does this... aren't you already married? Trying to gift Abigail the pendant also led me to discover that I was unable to gift her at all since we had divorced. Turns out, when you divorce someone in Stardew Valley, you lose all your hearts and the ability to get them back. But I can't dwell on the past, and within a few days, Alex and I had a beautiful wedding ceremony. And although Evelyn didn't have much to say at first, George's reaction to our marriage was insane. I'd like to become a great-grandpa before I croak. Think you can make that happen? George, our wedding day was this morning. Give me until tonight. Relax. George, I'm on it. I visited Alex's spouse areas and was disappointed, to say the least. I mean, his room really throws off the whole vibe I was going for. At some point, he visited his grandparents, which was super cute, and Evelyn finally had something to say about him living on the farm with me. Soon after we were married, I had Robin build a nursery. I mean, I had the extra gold to spare, so I figured, why not? I also bought the movie theater from JoJo while I was at it. I also passed the ice cream stand and realized how sad it was that Haley now stood by it alone. I don't know why my spouses have to stop working once we're married. Come on now. And I paid Sebastian a visit and discovered that it was our anniversary. Sebastian, please, I'm married now. Don't make it awkward. Since the nursery was built, I now had the ability to have kids. Unfortunately, in Stardew, only your spouse can initiate the process to have kids. I thought I would entice Alex a bit, and lo and behold, it worked. Alex, how does this make you feel? Alex? I'm in my chonies. Sick. Oh! Everything with Alex was going so well. And then his 14 heart event rolled around. Before you head out, I hate to ask this, but can I have 5,000 gold? What? It's for a secret project I'm working on. I know we have a joint bank account, but I thought I should ask anyway. 5,000? You, Alex. Oh. Really? You won't spare a measly 5,000 gold to make me happy? I didn't know you were such a cheapskate. I just wanted to have a little fun. And yeah, I know, I have 14 million gold, but it's about the principle. Actually, I totally would have given the money and would have loved to see the rest of his 14 heart event play out, but the challenge says I gotta pick the worst dialogue options, and the worst option was no. After that, Alex also got mad at me for gifting Shane earlier in the day. Apparently the jealousy event is rare in Stardew, but I think Alex was just already in a bad mood, and that's what triggered it. Luckily, the new baby seemed to have taken his mind off things, and since we had already bought his portrait from the traveling merchant, once Dove was born, there was nothing stopping me from filing for divorce. Although it was super sad coming home to Alex after signing the papers and him telling me that he will always love me. Oh, Alex, I don't think that's true. Yikes. Oh, he's sad. Mayor Lewis had some words with me after getting a second divorce, but I couldn't let that get me down because a few days prior I had proposed to Elliott, and our ceremony went great, and Leah wished us well. Even though the aesthetics of his room and outside area didn't fully match mine, I gotta say, they were adorable. But what I didn't find adorable was some of Elliott's dialogue, where he just can't seem to keep his nose to himself. You smell sweet, my dear, like a cinnamon leaf floating in the summer breeze. Quit sniffing me. To take my mind off of my husband's weird infatuation with scent, I went on a little movie date with the dwarf. And it was so lovely. I mean, look at them. Dwarf is so cute. Being able to take him to the movies actually made me so happy. And when I got back home, Elliott was actually very sweet and had written a poem for me while I was away. And soon after that, we hit 14 hearts, allowing me to buy his portrait and to trigger his 14 heart event. Elliott announced that he would be going on a book tour and that he would have to leave the farm for a couple of days, despite me telling him not to go. Every day he was gone, he wrote to me, and even left some crab cakes in the fridge. Remember to eat well. Oh, and don't forget the leftover crab cakes I put in the fridge. Did he actually put crab cakes in the fridge? And even though some of the letters were a little cringe, clouds my memory. I can't do it. I can't do poetry. Or went into a bit too much detail. On these long travels between towns, I amused myself by closing... Whoa. Whoa, I do not need to hear about that, Elliott. Keep your amusements to yourself. They were still very sweet. But I mean, come on. You can't just leave for an entire week and expect everything to go back to the way they were, Elliott. So the day he came home and surprised me in bed was the same day I went to the mayor's house and filed for divorce. I actually saw Elliott a couple times after that, and he was not pleased with my presence. He tried to ignore me, but after a few tries, he finally begged me to stop tormenting him. Grandpa visited the farm, and surprisingly, I passed his judgment with flying colors. So all of you who said Grandpa must be rolling in his grave from disappointment just because I picked the JoJo route and played with the hearts of the villagers, think again. Who do you think I got the attitude from in the first place? To celebrate my achievements, I headed to Emily's house and asked for her hand in marriage. Will you marry me? I accept! A couple days later, we had the ceremony, and Emily and even her parrot moved into the farmhouse. Emily was a great spouse. She gave me Omni Geodes and Bean Hot Pot, and her little crystal garden was so peaceful. We reached 14 hearts in no time, and when her event was started, she requested 200 fiber, not telling me what it was for. Since the event wasn't like Alex's, and I didn't have the option to refuse her request, I gave her the 200 fiber, and bought her portrait while I eagerly awaited the surprise. A few days later, I came home to a brand new outfit handmade by Emily. Now, when you wear those clothes, you'll think of me, and you'll know I'm here waiting for you to come home safe, okay? Ah. She's so cute. And yeah, it was butt ugly, but at least it was my favorite shade of Joja Blue. And I would have gone to the mayor's the very next day to divorce her, but the very same night she gave me the outfit, Emily also asked if we should adopt a baby. So I said yes. Emily filled out the adoption papers, and we adopted a little baby boy named Hawk. And then I filed for divorce. Emily was obviously very sad over our split, and Haley had some words of encouragement, but I don't think she totally has the hang of the whole sympathy thing yet. But what do I care about her thoughts on my divorce? I left her sister for her. So I proposed to Haley, and she looked absolutely beautiful on our wedding day. Her room was cute, filled with all her favorite things, and she took a picture of me in her outside area. Say goat cheese! Goat cheese! Haley, I'm over here! Goat cheese! She baked me muffins, watched the moonlight jellies with me, and even took the time to visit her sister. And when we hit 14 hearts and I bought her portrait, I thought that divorce was right on the horizon. Until I triggered her 14 heart event. I found out that I needed to bring her a chocolate cake. And although that sounds easy, I could not find a cake for the life of me. I didn't have the recipe, I checked Krobus, Gus, and the traveling merchant, and after 2 weeks of searching, I simply gave up and cheated one in. Luckily, I was able to numb the pain of being married for so long by embarrassing Mayor Lewis at the Stardew Valley Fair. Ew! Was that some kind of sick prank? Those are very private. Here, take 570 star tokens and don't tell a soul. Now go clean up your box and bring me my item tomorrow. When I finally brought Haley the cake, she held a nice little cakewalk for charity. Which is sweet and all, but after the struggle I had to go through getting the cake, I wish she would have just asked me for the money. Although, we all know what happened the last time a spouse asked me for money, so I get it. I divorced Haley later that day, and although Emily tried to warn me, nothing could have prepared me for how nonchalant Haley was about our split. Haley? I'll be fine on my own. Oh, that's like the worst one. Why are you still clinging to me? Go live your own life. Oh. Oh. Clearly, I didn't even matter to her. After buying another mermaid pendant, it was finally time to propose to the love of my life, Harvey. Listen, I'm definitely not biased or anything. I love all of my boyfriends and girlfriends equally, except for Harvey. He's my favorite, and I love him, and he's my favorite. Harvey, I know you may know about my past marriages and my past divorces, but I want you to know they meant nothing. They meant nothing to me, Harvey, because it's you. It's always been you. You're the love of my life, Harvey. Will you marry me? I accept. Oh my goodness, I have so much to prepare before the wedding. I'm nervous. I'll be relieved after we're all settled in on your farm. Now, I have married Harvey before, so I know his room is a little nerdy and he likes to read medical journals on the weekends, but at least the man has hobbies. And he's smart! Harvey is always so thoughtful and kind, and he gets all flustered when you ask him to dance with you at the flower dance. It's honestly kind of a shame that I know him so well, because getting to 14 Hearts with him was a breeze. I came home after the flower dance to him cooking me a wonderful meal, even though it tasted a bit like his mustache, and he talked about how much he loves me the rest of the night. I only got one more day with him, choosing to visit him at the clinic since he's one of the few romanceables who actually keeps his job after marriage, before Friday rolled around and I was able to buy his portrait and file for divorce. I'm sorry, Harvey, but the show must go on. Harvey's dialogue after divorce broke me, but we were only halfway done with the challenge, so I needed to move on. I proposed to Leah next, and the wedding went wonderfully. Leah was a decent spouse. Her art room was cute, she gave me odd gifts like cactus fruit, she worked on her sculptures out back, and she was even the only spouse to add decor to the house. 14 Hearts arrived in the blink of an eye, and after buying her portrait, Leah asked me to accompany her in the woods one day so she could teach me how to paint. Marnie was our lovely model, and while Leah's painting turned out fantastic, I clearly needed some more practice. But Leah apparently just couldn't be in the presence of my bad art and was not happy about me wanting to hang my Marnie painting in the house. Which I think is a totally valid reason for me to go to Mayor's the next day and get divorced. And besides, apparently Leah is happier by herself. So, whatever. So it was time to propose to Maru. Of course she said yes, and while I was at her house, I also had Robin paint all of my farm buildings my favorite shade of Joja Blue. I'm actually surprised I didn't do it earlier, but better late than never. The ceremony came and went, and Maru almost immediately electrocuted one of the children. But it's fine. Our son is playing with one of your robots. Please don't electrocute him, Maru, like last time. Robin and Demetrius were sad to see Maru go, but ultimately happy she had a life. Unlike a certain basement dweller, who actually didn't have any of his own opinions on the wedding, but he's probably just jealous. Like Harvey, Maru still works at the clinic even after marriage. Here I saw Harvey, and he actually had some very nice things to say about Maru and I getting married. Harvey, shh, don't tell Maru, but I miss you. Since I had been growing strawberries in my greenhouse, Maru was very easy to gift and get 14 Hearts with. So I savored our marriage a bit by taking some time off gifting and exploring Ginger Island. I found a couple of walnuts before shilling out $1 million for Joja to find the rest, and even introduced myself to Leo, who I unfortunately could not be kind to. Yes, the challenge also applies to children, okay? I don't discriminate. After Joja found the rest of the walnuts for me, I was able to enter Key's secret room, and shortly after, Fizz wrote to me offering me perfection waivers. I also completed the pirate's wife's quest, and just like that, my short trip to Ginger Island was over. But I'll be back. I came back home to Maru tinkering with something in the backyard, and she welcomed me home with a bomb. Thanks, Maru. We got to see her 14 Heart event where she showed me a beautiful comet, and even though I wished for more money, Maru got all sappy and romantic with it. And we were even paid a visit by her old friend Marilda. Unfortunately, the romance had come to an end, and the next day I bought Maru's portrait and filed for divorce. Robin was concerned. Somehow Demetrius did not care, and Maru was pissed. But to be honest, I couldn't care less, because now it was finally time for us to marry the last bachelorette, Penny. Noodly, I'm a little scared. This is such a big change. Don't worry, I'm really happy too. Good. You frickin' better be. The wedding was wonderful, and I discovered that Penny's room was so cute, and it actually kind of fit in with the rest of the house. Maru had some very kind words to say about Penny and I getting married, and Pam threatened me, but she honestly has a point, so. But don't worry, while we were together, I did treat Penny well. I visited her at work, I listened to her rave about how fortunate we were, I gave her her favorite presents while she quietly read outside, and I even took her advice and felt no remorse for Pam now that she was all alone in the trailer. But obviously I wasn't gonna feel bad for Pam after buying her a house. Yeah, that's right. Even after everything Penny put me through, I still bought her mom a house. And they were actually very grateful for the house, which made me feel all good. Hi there, neighbors. That's a nice new house you got there. Robin, I don't know what to say. This is a dream come true. It's all I've ever wanted. Oh, she's crying. Noodly, what are you doing here? What? You didn't tell your wife about this, Noodle? Oh my god, you get different dialogue if she's your wife? Noodly came up with this idea and paid for the whole thing. Noodly, you didn't need to do this. But thank you. This means a lot to me. This must have cost a fortune, Noodly. Yeah, you could pay me back in installments. Don't worry about it, Pam. To be honest, this is kind of embarrassing. How can I ever repay you for this? I don't know, but you're gonna have to figure it out, or I'm gonna have to send the bank after you, babe. You can start by treating Penny better, Pam. I'm sorry. I'll do whatever you say. Mom, look at Robin. Don't worry. I understand why you get angry sometimes. Your life hasn't been so easy. Thanks, kid. From now on, we'll be like a real family, you hear? I don't want to be so bitter all the time anymore. I'm gonna try to turn my life around. Nice. Eventually, we hit 14 hearts with Penny, and that's when she tried ruining my house. I had just bought her an entirely new space for her to decorate as she pleases, and yet she wanted to destroy the sanctity of my Joja house? Penny. I don't want any changes. Oh, okay. I won't worry about it then. She would have redecorated the bedroom. Penny, what's wrong with our Joja bed under our Joja Cola sign on our Joja rug? Next to our picture of Morris. So I filed for divorce. A couple days later, I had a conversation with her mom about the non-existence of Yoba, which didn't go over so well. And I even proposed to our next spouse, Sam. I love you, Sam. I love how fun you are, how hardworking you are. You know, most of the people in town don't even have a job, but you do, Sam. You care about your family. You provide. You are a great singer and a wonderful leader for your band. I just want you by my side, Sam, for the rest of my life. I guess what I'm trying to say is, Sam, will you marry me? I accept. And that's when it hit me. I had never bought Penny's portrait. I was so blinded by rage after she tried to desecrate my home that I just divorced her without a second thought. Luckily, I was able to cheat in her portrait. The run was saved. Sam and I got married. I explored his spouse areas and loved the skate ramp in the back, but his room was kind of lacking. I visited the town to see what people were saying, and Abigail and Penny congratulated me on marrying Sam. Meanwhile, Sam's family seemed heartbroken that I took him away from them. Don't worry, you'll get him back eventually. Being married to Sam was interesting. Honestly, he was kind of lazy the whole time. He wouldn't do chores, he would make instant pancakes or give me rocks. He'd go to his parents' house just for free food, and he even stopped playing the guitar. And he even got jealous. Although it was really cute seeing him and my children with Jody and Kent during the Feast of the Winter Star. We were really like one big family. Too bad it had to end so soon after. I bought Sam's portrait and began his 14 heart event, which took a couple of days, but it was kind of a sweet event. He realizes that he needs to do something with his time and decides to get back into music. He then gets a letter saying he was hired to be a composer for a kids' show, which he isn't too thrilled about, but in the end, he actually gets really into it. Eventually, he brings over Vincent and Jas, and we all watch the show with his music in the background. Vincent and Jas dance along, and it's so cute. And then Sam gives me my own little boombox with the song on it, so I can listen whenever I want. But once again, all good things must come to an end. Next day, I headed to Mayor's office and filed for divorce. Goodbye, Sam. I paid one last visit to him after the divorce, and he was pretty upset, but not as mad as some of my other exes. I quickly got engaged to Sebastian and rushed into the ceremony head-on. His room was not my favorite, but better than some of the others, and his spouse area was just his bike, which, I won't lie, is pretty cool. Abigail and Sam were mostly surprised that Sebastian got married, with Abigail practically saying I ruined his dream of moving to the city now, and Robin was overjoyed. Now, while I was married to Sebastian, I noticed he said some odd things. He didn't want marriage to make him all soft. He would rather sit around and read comics all day than help on the farm. He talked about needing alone time. All the time. But worst of all was the way he acted about the flower dance. Now, I understand being an introvert and not wanting to embarrass yourself in front of everyone with the whole dancing thing, but man, was Sebastian just such a jerk during this time. Obviously, if I'm asking you to dance, I'm excited for the dance, and you should at least pretend to enjoy time with your wife. Do I expect him to change his whole personality now that we're married? No. Do I expect him to sacrifice some things to make the woman he dedicated his life to just a little happy? Yes. Saying ugh every time the flower dance is brought up is rude. And let's not forget that if I didn't ask Sebastian to dance with me, he would have danced with Abigail anyway. At least be grateful that you get to dance with your wife now. And so maybe I was a little upset going into Sebastian's 14 heart event. But I guess it was alright. We worked together to save an injured frog and claimed it as our new son. Although Sebastian did say I have a frog nose during this scene. Sebastian, you are walking a fine line, buddy. We took the frog home and Sebastian set up a little enclosure for it in his room. And yes, since I am still picking the worst dialogue options, I told him I didn't want the frog in the house at all. And even though I actually didn't care whether he kept the frog or not, his response once again made me livid. Because where did he find the audacity to say that it wasn't up for debate and he could do whatever he wanted because it's his part of the house? Now hold on. I not only pay our bills, I pay everyone else's bills. Do you think anyone in this entire village could live if I wasn't buying their stuff? Do you know how much Robin charges me? I mean, Pierre's gotta be doing some shady because I haven't bought from him ever. Actually, that's a lie. I bought 12 bouquets from him. Sebastian, I paid for this house. I paid for your room. I paid for the kitchen, the dining room, the kids' room, everything. This house is my house. This is my farm. This is my corner of the house. Sebastian, check under your pillow tonight. You're gonna have a fun little surprise waiting for you. After days of him wandering town for alone time or wasting away in the house reading comics and not contributing at all, he had the gall to lay claim on part of the farmhouse. The next day he tried to play it off, like everything was fine. But I'm not falling for it. Oh, really? Oh, now that you know I want a divorce, now you're getting all gushy-gushy. Get out of my house, Sebastian. I went to Robin's the next day and she asked what had happened between us. Honestly, a lot, Robin. A lot. I then talked to Sebastian and he said he was trying to forget about me. but I'm not even sure he remembered my existence when we were actually married. Luckily, it was time to finally move on to our last bachelor, Shane. And the proposal was beautiful. Just a peaceful, intimate moment in the Isle of Jojamart. How romantic. When our wedding finally came around, I noticed a smaller crowd than usual. You see, every time you divorce someone, they won't show up to any of your future weddings. So by the time Shane and I got married, none of the other romanceables were there. It was kind of sad, honestly. Speaking of sad, Jas's reaction to me marrying Shane was so sad. I wish she could come live on the farm with me. At least Marnie seemed happy. Surprisingly, Emily also had something to say about me getting married to Shane. I guess since she sees him every day at the saloon, it makes sense, but I still wasn't expecting it. Shane's room fit in perfectly with the Joja aesthetic I was going for, so points to him. Although, I can't deny, his room is objectively the worst one, considering how foul it is. However, he does have the best outside area in my opinion. Unfortunately for me, he never was in this area while married to me, but there's a coop out back that he hangs out by and can be seen holding Charlie, his chicken, and it's so cute. Now, like Sebastian and Sam, Shane was a bit lazy sometimes and wouldn't help around the farm, but his gifts of microwaved pizza and pepper poppers made up for it a little. And it actually seemed like he liked me and was appreciative of his new life from the start. Sebastian. He also had such a cute line when you visit him while he's out at Marnie's farm, and he seems to really care about the well-being of his chickens. While I was with Shane, I also got a couple more Ginger Island cutscenes with Leo, where I had to make some less than ideal decisions, but I think it was fine in the end. Leo's a tough kid. Eventually, we hit 14 hearts with Shane. I bought his portrait and then triggered the start of his 14 heart event. Marnie and I catch him at the saloon, and it's this whole misunderstanding between him and us about what he's actually doing inside the saloon. We think he's been drinking again, all the while he's been getting addicted to video games. He also gets super upset that we even considered the possibility that he could be drinking, which is crazy considering his past, and the fact that he could have cleared up the misunderstanding from the start by, I don't know, telling his wife where he was going every day. And so, with Shane's 14 heart event all wrapped up, it was officially time to get our last divorce. Shane, I've nailed the divorce papers to the door. Don't bother coming in. I left your stuff at Marnie's. Obviously, he wasn't too pleased since I had just destroyed any ounce of hope he had left in a good future, but oh well. Okay, so now that I had successfully married and divorced every romanceable character in Stardew Valley, you would assume that the challenge would be over. However, there is actually one more character you can platonically have move into the farmhouse with you and be a roommate. Krobus. And so I headed down into the sewers to propose friendship to Krobus, which I soon realized required a different pendant than the mermaid pendant. Krobus doesn't want to marry you right now. Oh, but in the end, he accepted. Like I said, purely platonic. I have no one else, okay? So, do you, want to move in with me, Krobus? As friends? Best buds? Avoid ghost pendant? How did you... Oh, wow. Noodly, yes, I'll come live with you if you like, but we have to keep it secret from everyone. I'll be at your house in a few days, okay? And Krobus was the best roommate. He talked about how lucky he was to have a friend like me. He would talk about how, despite his mischievous tendencies, he was on his best behavior. He would bake me muffins, parent my children. He was amazing. But just like every other character that can move into your farmhouse, Krobus could also be kicked out. And once we had bought his portrait at 14 hearts and witnessed the most adorable heart event in the entire game, I mean, please, just take a moment to look at how cute he is. We had to evict Krobus. Now, I know I could have just ended with Krobus and we could have been one happy family, but Welwick's latest crystal ball reading had told me that I was going to end up all alone with no family. And I couldn't embarrass her like that by finding true happiness with Krobus. It had to be done. And I didn't know it at the time, but I had kicked Krobus out on his birthday. And now that Krobus was thoroughly pissed at me, it was time to officially scrub my hands of all my past relationships by turning my children into birds. So there you have it. In the end, everyone hated me. I had no lovers, no children, and I lost my best friend Krobus too. I was a jerk to everyone, and I reaped exactly what I sowed. But it can't end there. There's only one thing we can do. You know, we turn the children into birds to rid us from our past, but that doesn't mean we can't look forward to the future. Things can change. People change. I can change. The relationship between you and your ex-spouses will be wiped from memory. It will be like you've never met. It's time to start over. Hey, stranger! You're the new farmer, aren't you? You seem... No, I'm sure we've never met.